It seems like every year or so, Notre Dame seems to have a linebacker prospect that takes the country by storm. They had two linebackers taken in the 2024 draft, with Maris Liufau and JD Bertrand. And they have another guy who looks to be a very high floor, safe prospect for the linebacker position in the 2025 class. Jack Kiser has been with the Irish since 2019. But he brings some absolutely remarkable leadership and experience to an NFL roster and has some very intriguing potential to be a starting linebacker at the next level. In a linebacker class that isn't exactly the strongest in the world, how high could Kaiser hear his name called in the 2025 NFL Draft? That is what we will be discussing in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page, where for $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board with over 500 prospects and counting. It is incredibly in-depth and comprehensive with advanced analytics and all the information you need to help prepare for draft season. Leave a comment on this video and let me know which prospect you guys would like to see in a future episode, and without further ado, let's get into it. Kaiser has been with Notre Dame for a while now, and shockingly, has never really put up incredible numbers. His 2023 season was really his big breakout year. He had 41 tackles, 12 pressures, 1 sack, and 29 run stops on the year, and people really liked what he offered in a limited role. His 2024 season, he's seen his numbers and usage increase, and he's been very solid. He has 62 tackles, 16 pressures, 2 sacks, and 30 run stops, and I think he could be a very interesting name to watch in this draft class. The first thing that I really like about Kaiser is his coverage potential. I've seen a lot of people online discredit his change of direction and his overall movement abilities, and I have to say I heavily disagree with that point. I thought he did a very good job of sticking with tight ends or running backs in coverage, and he was pretty fluid. In zone coverage particularly is where I really thought he thrived. He showed very good instincts, read the quarterback's eyes incredibly well, and was able to show really high overall football IQ in zone coverage, and that's something I like to see from linebackers. Kaiser is also an incredibly consistent tackler for the position. Throughout his career, he has a 4.2% missed tackle rate, which is unbelievably good. He has played in 1,781 career snaps, and he's only missed 11 tackles. Those numbers are absolutely absurd, and I love what that could mean for his NFL future. As a run defender, I was really impressed with Kaiser. Notre Dame did a good job of bringing him downhill, crashing the run lanes, or even using him as a blitzer. His first step and quickness is very solid, and he showed really great power when coming downhill. He also is very disciplined, and he has great gap awareness to make big stops in the backfield. He has 105 career run stops, and I love that about him. While there is some very nice positives to Kaiser's game, I think he lacks some high-end upside for a variety of reasons. Number one, it has to be his size. He is 6'2", 231 pounds, and while his frame overall is solid, he has shorter arms for the position. I think the lack of elite length could potentially hurt him at the next level because it hurts him on the field, particularly when he's trying to shed blocks. That has been a major issue I've noticed with Kaiser over the last couple of years. He really struggles to disengage with blockers, and he just doesn't have the ideal length for the linebacker position. Another area I don't necessarily love is his overall speed. His initial quickness and burst is really solid, but I do have questions if he can be a sideline-to-sideline type of guy. There are times when he flies around, makes big plays, but there are other times when he feels really heavy on his feet, the change of direction's not there, and I don't really love to see that from him. I also think his age and lack of production is something to note. Kaiser is 24 years old. He's going to be 25 at the start of his rookie season. He is not a high upside player that you can develop into being something. Unfortunately, I kind of think he is what he is at this point. I also worry about the production. 2024 is his only career season with over 400 snaps. He hasn't seen the field as much as you'd like to see, and he just doesn't have a lot of experience, which is slightly concerning. Kaiser is a good overall linebacker prospect. He defends the run well. I think he's very solid in coverage, and I think he does flash good change of direction and has good gap discipline. It's not the strongest linebacker group, but I think Kaiser could be a very solid to good starter at the next level, and he's my number 10 linebacker in the class and my number 126 overall player at the time of recording. Given his overall awareness and ability in coverage, I think he will likely be a Mike linebacker at the next level. I think he's going to be the type of player that carries the green dot and will be the quarterback of the defense, the guy communicating coverages to the other guys on the team. He's got great football IQ. He's great at reading plays at the line of scrimmage, coming downhill, and I think they can occasionally use him as a blitzer as well, but I think that's probably where he's going to be best suited, is in a Mike linebacker role. My player comparison for Jack Kiser is Tennessee Titans linebacker Jack Gibbens. Gibbens is a very similar type of player. Gibbens went undrafted out of Minnesota because he lacked elite athleticism, wasn't necessarily the fastest guy, but he really stepped up and played well for the Titans in 5 starts this year despite battling injuries. Both are very smart and cerebral players that do a very good job of defending the run and playing in that primary Mike linebacker role. I think Kaiser's probably got a little bit of a higher ceiling than that, but you get the idea. I think he'll be a kind of mid to low tier starting linebacker. Jack Kiser is a high floor prospect. He does a lot of things very well at the position, but I think his overall upside is incredibly limited due to the lack of athleticism and his age. I still think he's a good player and definitely a player I would take a chance on late in the draft, and ultimately, I believe that Jack Kiser will be a day 3 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.